Ethan Cole was a man who had everything that money could buy. He owned a large business, lived in a mansion, and drove cars that turned heads on every street. Yet he felt trapped by the expectations that came with his last name. His father reminded him again and again that family reputation came before personal choice. When his father arranged a marriage for him, Ethan felt his freedom vanish. He was told that his bride would be Lily Carter, the daughter of a family that once had wealth, but now struggled to keep their home. Ethan was not pleased. He thought she must have agreed to the marriage for money, and he convinced himself that she would not be someone worth admiring. He imagined her as dull, plain, and desperate. Pride made him cold, and he accepted the plan only to honor his father. Deep inside, he promised himself he would never open his heart to her. Lily Carter sat quietly in her small room when her parents told her about the marriage. Her father's health was failing, and her mother feared losing the house. Lily agreed to the match because she wanted to save them from ruin. She did not dream of riches or a grand life. Her heart wished only for peace in her family. She heard that Ethan was proud and distant, and she knew he did not welcome the thought of marrying her. Though it hurt, she tried to prepare herself. When they met for the first time, Ethan barely glanced at her. He gave her a polite nod and turned back to his phone, as if she was an appointment to be ticked off a list. Lily kept her voice steady and spoke with respect, but inside her chest a strange feeling stirred. When she looked at him, she thought she saw a shimmer, like a faint golden thread stretching from him to her. She blinked, and it was gone, but the image stayed in her mind. She wondered if it was her imagination, or if fate was trying to show her something. Ethan felt nothing but annoyance. He saw her simple dress and quiet manner, and decided she had nothing to impress him with. His friends had always said he could have any woman he wanted, and now he felt punished for being forced into this match. He kept his words short, but even then he noticed the calm in her voice. There was no greed, no attempt to flatter him. She seemed strong in her silence, but he refused to think more about it. The family set the wedding date and plans moved quickly. Ethan's mother, who had grown weak with illness, was happy that her son would not be alone. She spoke kindly to Lily and saw a gentle soul in her. Lily took care to listen and help, and soon she became a comfort in the household. Ethan ignored most of this, telling himself that it was not his concern. But when he saw Lily walking beside his mother, supporting her with patience, a strange unease touched his thoughts. At night, Ethan found his sleep broken by strange dreams. In them, he walked through endless halls, and always a golden string pulled him forward. He never saw where it led, but the feeling of being drawn to something he could not resist left him restless. He woke each time with a pounding heart, but in the morning, he brushed it aside. Lily kept quiet about her own strange vision. She did not dare tell anyone about the golden shimmer she thought she saw between them. She feared that Ethan would laugh or grow angry if she spoke of it. Instead, she carried the secret like a hidden flame, believing that maybe it meant they were tied by something greater than choice. While the city buzzed with news of the grand wedding between the wealthy Cole family and the fading Carter family, the two who were at the center of it stood far apart. Ethan looked at Lily with cold judgment, and Lily looked back with quiet hope and hidden strength. Neither of them knew that their lives were already tied by something they could not yet understand. The days passed quickly as the wedding plans grew larger. Ethan Cole buried himself in work, hoping to escape from thoughts of the woman he was about to marry. He told himself it was only duty, nothing more. Yet the strange dreams of the golden string returned each night. No matter how much he tried to shake them away, they clung to him like a shadow. He felt uneasy, though he would not admit it. Lily Carter spent her time learning the ways of the Cole household. She stayed near Ethan's mother, offering her company and gentle care. Ethan's mother found comfort in her presence and told her stories about Ethan's childhood. Lily listened closely, storing each detail as if she was building a map of the man she was meant to spend her life with. She saw the walls he had built around himself, and though she felt hurt by his coldness, she also felt that deep down there was something worth reaching. One evening, Ethan returned home to find Lily helping his mother in the garden. She was on her knees, her hands covered in soil, planting flowers beside the walkway. His mother was smiling, something rare in recent months. Ethan stopped in silence, watching for a moment longer than he meant to. Lily's face was calm, lit by the fading sun, and for a brief second he forgot his resentment. Then pride returned, and he turned away, refusing to let himself feel anything. Lily noticed him, though he did not greet her. Her heart sank, but she kept her smile for his mother's sake. Inside, she felt the golden shimmer again, faint but strong, as if reminding her that this man was bound to her in a way he did not yet see. She did not speak of it, but she wondered when he would notice it himself. As the wedding day drew near, rumors spread through the city. Many whispered that Lily was marrying for money, while others said Ethan was being forced into a match against his will. Lily heard the words but stayed silent. She knew the truth of her choice, and she would not let gossip poison her resolve. Ethan heard the same rumors and used them to feed his own doubts. He told himself she was only there for wealth, and that kept his pride safe. Despite his efforts, Ethan found himself drawn into her presence more often. At dinner, he watched the way she spoke kindly to the staff, thanking them for their service. He saw her share a quiet laugh with his mother, and it unsettled him. He was used to people treating him with respect because of his wealth, not because of who he was. Lily's kindness seemed real, untouched by the greed he expected. Tried to ignore it, but the thought followed him. One night, Ethan dreamed again. This time he was standing in a great hall filled with light. The golden string stretched from his chest across the room, and at the end of it stood Lily. Her eyes held his, and the pull of the string grew stronger until it hurt. He woke with his heart racing, breath heavy, and a strange fear he could not explain. He told himself it was only a dream, but it left him restless for days. Lily also felt the weight of the coming vows. She spent nights staring out her window, wondering if love could ever grow from a bond forced by duty. She held to the vision of the golden shimmer, trusting it even when her heart felt weak. She reminded herself that fate was stronger than pride, and one day he would see what she already knew. As preparations finished, the house filled with flowers, music, and voices of guests arriving from far and wide. The world saw a grand union of two families. But for Ethan and Lily, it was something deeper, something invisible to everyone else. Neither spoke of the golden string, yet it grew stronger each day, waiting for the moment when it could no longer be denied. The night before the wedding, Ethan Cole sat alone in his office, staring at the papers on his desk, but reading none of them. His thoughts kept drifting to the woman who would soon be his wife. He told himself again that it was only duty, nothing more. But the memory of his dream, the golden string pulling him toward her, returned again and again. He clenched his jaw, trying to shake the image away, yet it would not leave. In her room across the house, Lily Carter stood before a mirror. Her dress for the rehearsal dinner was simple, but her presence made it shine. She touched the fabric with trembling hands and whispered to herself that she would face tomorrow with strength. She remembered the shimmer she had seen the first day they met, the string that tied her to Ethan, and she held on to the belief that it was a sign of fate. Even though he looked at her with cold eyes, she knew there was more beneath the walls he built. At the rehearsal dinner, guests filled the grand hall with laughter and voices. Ethan moved among them, polite but distant, his smile a mask. Lily sat beside his mother, speaking softly and keeping her calm. Ethan's eyes drifted to her again and again, without his will. He watched how she comforted his mother with patience and kindness. He noticed the way the staff smiled when she thanked them. Something about it unsettled him, because he had never seen anyone treat those around him with such simple respect. He caught himself staring and quickly looked away. Later in the evening, Ethan stepped outside for air. The night was cool, and the sky above the city shone with scattered stars. He leaned against the railing, trying to steady his thoughts. Then he heard a quiet voice behind him. Lily had stepped outside, carrying a shawl around her shoulders. She looked at him for a moment before speaking. She said she understood he did not want this marriage, but she wanted him to know she would not bring shame to his family. Her voice was calm, without bitterness, and it struck Ethan like a sudden gust of wind. He could not find words to answer, so he only nodded. That night, Ethan dreamed again. This time he saw himself in a vast field. The golden string stretched from his chest across the open land, and Lily stood at the other end. She reached out her hand, and though he tried to stand still, the pull of the string dragged him forward. He woke with his chest tight, his heart pounding faster than he had ever felt. He pressed his hand against his chest and whispered that it was only a dream. Yet the fear in his eyes told another story. The morning of the wedding arrived with bright lights spilling into the mansion. The house buzzed with activity as guests filled the halls and music echoed from every corner. Lily was taken to her room to prepare, surrounded by women who helped her into her gown. She sat in silence, her mind racing, her heart steady only because she remembered the golden shimmer. She knew that today was not just a contract of families, but a turning point that fate itself had woven. Ethan, dressed in his suit, standing before the mirror. He looked at his reflection, but barely recognized the man staring back. His pride told him to stay cold, to keep his distance, but another voice inside whispered of the dreams and the thread that haunted him. He brushed his hands down his jacket, trying to appear steady, but his heart was restless. As the hour drew near, Ethan and Lily stood on opposite sides of the grand hall. Neither could see the other yet, but both felt the weight of what was about to happen. The guests filled the seats, the music grew louder, and the doors waited to open. The golden thread, unseen by most, stretched tighter between them, waiting for the moment when it would reveal its true power. The grand hall filled with the sound of music as guests rose from their seats. The tall doors opened, and Lily Carter stepped forward in her wedding gown. The dress was white and flowing, simple yet elegant, and her calm presence made it shine brighter than jewels. She held her head high, though her heart beat fast, and every step she took made the golden shimmer inside her glow stronger. She looked ahead and saw Ethan Cole standing at the altar, his face unreadable. Ethan had told himself he would remain cold, but when his eyes fell on Lily walking down the aisle, his breath caught. He had expected nothing but plainness, yet what he saw stunned him. The woman before him looked radiant, not because of the dress, but because of the strength in her eyes. The dreams of the golden string rushed back to him, and for the first time he felt fear that he might have been wrong about her all along. Every guest turned their heads to follow her steps. Whispers spread through the hall, not of pity but of awe. The bride, who had been judged before she was known, now walked with grace that silenced the doubts around her. Ethan's mother smiled with tears in her eyes, proud of the woman who had already shown her heart long before this moment. Lily reached the altar and stood before Ethan. Their eyes met, and for a brief second the world faded. Ethan saw the shimmer, faint at first, then growing brighter until it stretched like a golden thread between them. His chest tightened, and he could not look away. Lily's lips trembled slightly, not with fear, but with the weight of truth. She knew he saw it too. The vows began. The officiant spoke the words, but Ethan barely heard them. His thoughts spun as the golden string pulsed with each word spoken. When it was time for him to speak, he hesitated. Script he had memorized slipped from his mind. Instead, his voice broke through the silence with words from his heart. He said he had been proud and blind, that he had judged her without knowing her. He confessed he had seen only with his eyes and not with his soul. The guests gasped at the rawness of his voice, but he did not stop. Lily's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness but of release. When her turn came, she admitted that she had seen the golden string from the very first day. She said she believed it meant they were tied by something stronger than choice, something that fate itself had written. Her voice was steady, and the truth in it shook Ethan to his core. The moment came for the rings. As Ethan placed the band on Lily's finger, the golden string between them glowed so bright that he could no longer deny it. He felt the pull in his chest, not painful now but strong, like a bond that would never break. Lily slipped the ring onto his finger, her hands shaking, and when their eyes met again, the hall seemed to hold its breath. When the officiant declared them husband and wife, Ethan leaned forward and kissed her. The golden string tightened, glowing like fire, wrapping them together in a bond no one else could see. The guests rose to their feet, some in awe, some in tears. As the proud millionaire lowered his pride before the woman he once dismissed. In that moment, Ethan realized that beauty had never been what he imagined. It was not in wealth or in faces judged too quickly. True beauty was in the soul, and it had stood before him all along, waiting for him to see. I say. As they walked back down the aisle together, the golden string followed. Unseen by most, but shining bright enough to guide their hearts forever. The reception hall glowed with golden lights as music filled the air. Guests raised their glasses, speaking of wealth, power, and the union of two families. Yet for Ethan and Lily, the celebration was no longer about reputation. The weight of the vows still lingered in their hearts. The golden string that tied them together pulsed stronger with every step they took beside each other. Ethan stood close to Lily, no longer distant, his pride broken by the truth he had seen. He glanced at her again and again, not able to believe how blind he had been. He remembered his first thought of her, the judgment that she was plain, and shame burned in him. Yet with that shame came something new, a deep respect and a pull he could no longer fight. He knew the string between them was real, and he knew it would never let him go. Lily felt the change in him. For the first time, she saw his eyes soften when they looked at her. She saw the way his hand brushed against hers, not by mistake, but by choice. She remembered the lonely days when she feared he would never accept her. Now those fears began to fade as the glow inside her heart grew brighter. She had believed in the golden string from the start, and now it bound them both. Their first dance began. Ethan held her hand, pulling her into the center of the hall. The music rose, and together they moved, slow and steady, their eyes locked. The golden string shimmered with every step, unseen by the guests but felt by them in the air around the couple. Whispers spread, not of wealth or contracts, but of the love that seemed to bloom before their eyes. The guests saw a man once known for his pride and distance now look at his bride, as if she was the only light in the room. When the dance ended, Ethan leaned closer and whispered that he had been a fool for so long. But he would never make that mistake again. Lily's lips curved into a smile, and she told him she had always trusted the bond between them, even when he could not see it. Their hands tightened together, and for a moment, it felt as though nothing else existed. The night passed with laughter and celebration, but for Ethan and Lily, the true change came in quiet moments. Ethan watched her speak kindly with the guests, never showing pride or hunger for wealth, only warmth. He realized how rare her spirit was in a world filled with greed. Lily watched him let down his guard, speaking not with cold distance but with honesty. She knew then that the man behind the walls was worth waiting for. As the final hour of the celebration came, Ethan took her aside to a quiet balcony. The city lights stretched out before them, but his eyes stayed on her. He told her that he no longer cared about duty or contracts, that he cared only for the bond they shared. He promised to protect it, to honor it, and to never let pride blind him again. Lily listened, her heart full, and whispered back that she had seen their future from the start, in the shimmer of the string. They stood close, the golden thread wrapping them together, glowing brighter than ever. Ethan leaned down, and their lips met once more, sealing their bond not only in vows, but in truth. The moment was quiet, yet it felt louder than the music inside. It was the sound of fate itself. As the night ended, the guests left with stories of the grand wedding. Of the millionaire humbled by love, of a bride who carried grace greater than wealth. Ethan and Lily walked forward hand in hand, their steps guided by the golden string. Their lives had begun not by choice but by duty, yet love had turned it into something greater. And in their hearts they knew the string would never break, for it was written not by man but by fate itself.